Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to have some fun welcoming in fall here at the house. I am in the backyard and we are going to be planting some fall, winter, early spring annual color here around the patio and the garden shed, and who knows what else we might get into today. What I'm going to be planting today, we have right here on the Polaris behind me. So let me flip the camera around. Let me show you exactly what we are going to be doing today. If you remember last week, Jerry and I went to King's Greenhouses. That is a great friend of ours. They do a wonderful job growing all sorts of great plants. Right now, this time of year, of course, they're focusing on their fall colors. So Jerry and I helped ourselves to lots of beautiful violas and pansies. I am going to be planting violas today. You will see, here is the tag. We're going to mix the Color Max Beacon Rose with the Color Max Lemon Splash. Really fun, kind of soft colors, but yet still have lots of interest. We're going to mix them all in there together, and then we are going to use this gorgeous Ms. America mustard as our centerpiece, kind of our thriller filler all in one. Let me grab a tag here for you so you can see it, exactly what it looks like. We had this last year and it was just wonderful. So there it is. It is a full sun plant, nice deep red color, and it will get some good height to it. So we are going to plant them in the two western urns. There's one and there is two. So let's walk over there and I'm going to show you what is going on with the western urns. But before we do that, can we just have a moment of appreciation of how, I know I'm spinning, I'm sorry. I'm all excited today, I just can't help it. Can you hear it? Let's see if I'm quiet and Brenna stops panting. You hear that little tinkle of water? Yep, that is the hospitality fountain. It is doing really, really well. We're super excited about it. If everything is still and I don't have dogs running around and barking and panting all over the place and I have kids that are behaving, then yes, we can hear it from the back porch. People have asked if we could hear it from back there. So if it is a still, quiet day, then yes, we can hear it. What I want to show you are the western urns. These are from Unique Stone. Remember when we finished this patio last year, I planted these western urns and we had the purple fountain grasses in them. I planted, now they are an annual for us. We loved them so much last year. No, I did not have purple fountain grass in there. I had the green and white stripe. I can't remember now. We did purple fountain grass this year. It is massive. It is huge. It is not getting enough water because if you can see, it's a little bit too brown for me. Even though this is on drip irrigation, you will see the color difference between these sweet things, which are huge and massive and are gorgeous, right? But there should be a nice deep dark purple. If you can see, we have 3 of them down here and they are really deep and purple. That's the difference between going in the landscape and a container. I am going to pull these grasses out and plant the violas and the mustard in here, and I guarantee you when I pull these out, there will be completely root bound, nice and thick, full of the roots. There will be no extra soil to pull out because these babies have just gone crazy. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set everything up and I'm going to go ahead and get these grasses out, get the irrigation out so that way I can get soil back in and then we can come back and we can plant those violas and the mustard. Okay, so I've got both of the grasses out of the urns, and just as I suspected, the roots on these babies were beyond well developed, shall we say. In fact, let's see if I can show it to you on this one. This second one, when I was pulling it out, so you can see how developed they are. But do you see right here where these guys, that was actually going down the drain hole. So they were definitely, Brenna's investigating. So you can see exactly how, pot bound, root bound these guys were. So no matter how much I water them at this point, they were just, their lifespan was limited. These are annuals for us. Purple fountain grasses will not survive our North Carolina Zone 7B climate. It is simply a matter of time before, these guys are completely dead. It'd be a frost or a freeze. I will lose the ones in the landscape at the frost or freeze mark. So why not just go ahead, because they're struggling, they are on the struggle bus big time. Why not just go ahead and get them out and get some beautiful color in there that will last me throughout fall, winter, and spring. If you are in a colder climate, this may be a very foreign concept to you as far as like planting violas and pansies now. I think most of you plant them in the springtime. And so for us, because our winters are mild, we can plant them now and they will bloom for us throughout the fall, through the winter, and into the spring. That is why we plant them now in the south. Brenna is here on a stick. She's about to drive me crazy. It's like, I'm telling you, it's like gardening with a toddler sometimes. All you mamas and daddies out there, or grandparents who have, watched your little ones, it can be a little challenging gardening with your extra helpers in the garden. So my extra helper is a little frisky today. I digress. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get my Land and Sea, my Proven Winners potting soil. I am going to layer the compost, the bottom 1/3, and then top it with the potting soil. Then I will meet you back here and we will plant the mustards and the violas. Okay, my friends, so we have got the bottom third of the container filled with a high quality compost. I'm using Land and Sea. If you have your favorite compost that you like, use that. And then I filled up not quite all the way to the rim. I want to leave some room for when I add the plants, the soil will rise, so forth. Proven Winners potting soil. I really, really like Proven Winners because it has aged pine bark fines in there. For us, especially our winters can be extremely wet. So I need potting soil that drains really well. Yes, it holds moisture, but it also does not become this huge giant sponge where all the water just sits in there and my plants rot. I have tried other brands. This is my favorite by far, and it does have the slow release fertilizer in there, time release fertilizer. I will say this, all of your time release fertilizer is released by temperature. So when I plant my violas and everything right now, yes, they are going to get a shot of food. Once the cooler temperatures hit, that time release is going to not be releasing. So if I need to fertilize them, that's when I'm going to use my water soluble fertilizer. So let's grab the plants and get them in here. So Ms. America is going to go in the center. This is a mustard, and like your kales and your cabbages, they are going to, let's see if Brenna wants a pot. You want a pot? Oh, she said, I don't think you can see her in the shot. Here we go, 1, 2, 3. There we go, and she's gone. The girl does love a good empty pot. So Miss America is gonna go in the center, and maybe she'll go away here in a second. Let me grab that and throw it in the grass because she's a little noisy right now. Hey, Bee. Okay, sorry for that. That should be a little bit better. Putting it down here in the center, but your kales, your mustards, your cabbages, they're going to continuously produce new shoots throughout the growing season. So as they produce new shoots, the older foliage will come down, look a little ratty. There is nothing wrong. I've already gone ahead and cleaned up this one. You just pinch off the outside older foliage and just let it go that way. It will be just fine. And of course I have to make sure it doesn't look like it's quite centered. So excuse me, you're gonna look at my back for a moment. All right, there we go. Now what I'm gonna do is just get my 2 different kind of violas, and I'm gonna mix them in there, fill it nicely, nice and full, nice and thick. And then I do have our irrigation, and I might just go ahead and add that now. It's a ring, if you can see that. It's a plastic ring hooked to the drip irrigation, but there are emitters around it. So what you can do is just come in here gently. You don't want to break your plant, obviously. There we go. Yeah, it's probably easier to do it now than it would be once all those violas are in here. And that way I can just plant around it. And then it just snugs down in there. So that way, instead of just having one emitter, I've got a whole nice ring that will use good water. This will be clear water that goes in here. And that was just the hardest part of taking those grasses out, was to cut the root ball so that I can get my irrigation line out without cutting my irrigation. So without further ado, the violas are going in. All right, my friends, so I've got one Western urn planted, and I just, like I said, I just put the mustard in the middle and then alternated between the 2 colors of violas. Now, right now, this may be a little thin, it may be a little sparse. Does that bother me? No, it does not, 1 iota. I know that this is going to grow and bloom and thrive. I am thinking long term. It is mid-September. More than likely, I will not take this out until late March. I need room for these plants to grow. I need as much soil space for these roots to grow and develop. That way I don't end up with what I had with the grasses. Now the grasses, I didn't overplant. It was just one plant. It's just a super vigorous plant, and it's a water hog. These are not as water hogs as that grass was. So my point in telling you that is, are you planning, like if I had an event here, let's say we're having a party, a family reunion, okay? If I'm gonna have that this weekend, then I'm probably gonna fill in a whole lot more plants because I want it to look full and lush for a special event that's coming up in the near future. That is not my goal here. My goal here is for this to look good for the next, 6 months? 5 months, I don't know. So I'm going to plant it on the thin side. Come late spring, this is going to be massive. The mustard is going to be huge. The violas are going to be completely filled in and starting to spill over a little bit. So again, I'm thinking long term on this planting. There's not a right way, there's not a wrong way. It is, what is your goal? What is your purpose when you're doing that? Keep that in mind and then plant accordingly, of course. So we're just gonna go do the other one really quickly, and bada boom, bada bing, get it in, get it out, and then we are going to plant. There is a window box that I have on the garden shed behind me, and we're still going to plant some violas, but we're going to switch it up with some snapdragons, some different colors, and then I want to give you an update on how the black-eyed Susan vine, this is coconut appeal. I planted it as kind of as a privacy screen back there. I want to show you how it did this summer. All right, my friends, so the 2 Weston urns have been planted up. They look nice for me and my brain. It's so nice to see them nice and clean and short as opposed to the grasses, tall and wispy and wild. This time of year, my brain is definitely on like, let's clean up, let's simplify, let's just streamline things and get things ready for a bit of a season of rest. So that's just how my brain works. Let me show you how these look in here. Of course, we have got Ms. America down there in the center, and then those sweet violas right there. I just alternated colors all the way around, made it work, and of course you saw me water them in. So both of these urns have been well watered. They will be continued to be watered with the irrigation system while we have heat. And then once the temperatures cool off and we're getting consistent rain, then we just shut our irrigation off for the whole season. We'll crank it back up, maybe depending on the weather, early April, I would say, because we have cool temperatures and consistent rain, so everything will do fine. So I don't need to have the irrigation system on. We don't have to really winterize our irrigation system here in North Carolina because our temperatures just don't get super consistently cold enough. So just turning it off and letting the lines just naturally drain out is all that we have to do here in North Carolina. Now what we're going to do is, over my shoulder we have the garden shed. There is a window box, hay rack, whatever you want to call them. They're the same thing. We're going to get that planted up, and thank goodness it is in the shade for now, because I'm not going to lie, it may be September, but Jenny is glistening and Brenna is finding every ounce of shade and taking advantage of that. So we're going to move on over and get filming over there. Here I am standing in front of the garden shed, and you can see over my shoulder that I have got a hay rack. I believe you saw me plant this up earlier in this season, and it's done really well. This is not on irrigation, so any water that it gets, I have to hand water it or from the rain. I have got the newly noir coleus in here, and it is doing really well. It's just one plant, but again, I am ready to go out with the old and in with the new. The coleus will not survive our winters here. As soon as we get a frost freeze, it will be gone. So she is going to get out of here, and we're going to plant a different viola and some snapdragons in this one. But I also wanted to give you an update. Look at this. This is coconut appeal. It is an annual vine. There are only 2 plants that were planted here. It is a black-eyed Susan vine. Coconut appeal is the new one because it has that very kind of that creamy white, and it is a purple center, but it's super dark, so it almost looks black. I planted it along this shed because this used to be a chicken coop, and so the garden shed was the coop, and then this was the run, and so it has chicken wire on the back of it. Well, it's kind of unsightly while we are waiting for our tea olives and our azaleas to really kind of grow up and fill in this area. So I thought this was a great idea to have for the summer and give us a lot of coverage and privacy, and to hide anything that might be unsightly behind it. Well, it worked great, but yeah, it is a super vigorous plant, which I knew. I didn't know it would quite do this well in here. So what I'm going to do today, I did a little bit of this last night, is I have 2 camellias planted right here. So there is 1, and then there is 2. The black-eyed Susan vines, I tell people, I'm like, if you stand still long enough, it will climb you. So when I'm going to come in here is because my camellias, as you can see, are getting ready to explode in blooms. They are covered in buds. And I want to see these gorgeous blooms and to protect these plants. So what I'm going to do is come in here and just cut along the base so that I can get all of the foliage that's down here below, get it out, because I do have a walkway right here. You just can't see it. So once I get the hay rack planted, then we're going to come in here and clean this little area up so that my camellias can shine. I got this hay rack. Kinsman Garden Company, which I absolutely love and adore because their products are just the top quality and just fantastic. They call them hay racks because if you have any livestock in your life, you know this is the shape of a hay rack where you would throw hay in, and then the animals can pull the hay out and eat it in their stalls. So they call them hay racks. Window boxes, a hay rack and a window box, same thing. There goes Brenna. Who's she fussing at? Who knows? Let's see who she's going to fuss at. All right, so pardon the little interruption there. Our middle one is now taking driver's ed where she gets to drive. So that was the driver's ed teacher coming to get her. All that being said, love the products from Kinsman Garden Company. This is a wonderful hay rack, and I am sure that I can take I'm just gonna do it bit by bit, but again, all the soil is gonna come out of here because, once again, I'm thinking long term, and I know that the roots are gonna be really full. Now, I know that it just broke off, but I guarantee you when I pull out the cocoa liner, this entire thing will be nothing but roots. So I'm just gonna get this off the wall, dump out all this existing soil, and then do my layers again. The compost, the potting soil, and then we'll come back and plant. All right, so it's a little harder to get the soil out of the cocoa liner because the roots had grown into the cocoa liner. But it's another great reason why I love Kinsman so much is because their liners are super high quality. Jerry's home. The liners are super high quality and they will last you for years and years. I'm on my third year of containers from Kinsman and I've yet to replace a liner. So there you go. So the roots had grown in, so I had to really dig it out. And then I did the bottom third was compost. The top 2/3 is that Proven Winners potting soil. What we're gonna do is we have some really fun, sweet little white with cream edge little throats. Those are the snapdragons. They are in the little 4-inch container, so I am going to use 3 of them, but I'm really going to plant them here in the center, and I'm going to plant them probably in a little bit of a triangle so it looks like, you know, like one maybe, or do I go all the way across? Maybe I'll go all the way across. Hey love. My sugar's home from being out and about today. So we're gonna put those 3, maybe I'll put those 3 in the back, and then that's what I'll do. And then I'll just line the center, the edge rather, with the Color Max Yellow Jump Up. This is a really fun, sweet little bicolor that is yellow and purple all together. Really fun, really sweet. So yeah, so we'll just add those in there. I know this is in the shade right now, but give me 30-45 minutes and it will be in full sun, and it will be in complete sun until the sun goes down. That is the thing with your violas, your pansies, snapdragons, your kale, your mustard, all that kind of stuff. It is considered full sun. So you need a minimum of 5 to 6 hours, even in the winter, of full sun. That is why I will not be planting any of these in my hay racks along the kitchen, because it does not get enough sun. It is complete shade, and I've tried it before and they just did terrible. So I'll figure something else out for that this year, but it will not be the pansies and the violas. So without further ado, we're gonna get these babies planted. All right, so this last one has been planted. So all my violas, I automatically want to say pansies because that's how I just grew up, with pansies, but it's not, they're violas. All the violas have been planted with the snapdragons. Of course, the snapdragons will get taller. That'll kind of be my thriller filler right here. And then these sweet little violas will fill in and spill over just a little bit. These are not the trailing violas, but they will fill in and just, you know, kind of kiss the edges right here. So it will look really, really nice. You will notice, maybe if you saw, that the violas have a little bit of a yellow twinge to them, like the foliage. Grayson, who at King's, the grower, our friend, they were due for a liquid fertilizer right before we picked them up. So I need to go ahead and fertilize them. This is where that water-soluble fertilizer will really help. Again, Proven Winners has the time release in there, so they're going to get a shot of that. It is certainly warm enough to activate that fertilizer, but I will go ahead probably tomorrow, let this water kind of soak in, and then come back with my water soluble, the Proven Winners water soluble, and that will really darken up and green up my foliage, and of course help produce more flowers. So again, if you were during your growing season and it is cool and you do not have warm temperatures, because these are cool weather annuals, you're going to want to use a water soluble fertilizer, not a slow release. It's in those coldest parts of the months. That's going to give you that food. So I will do that, and then these will perk up right away. Now what we're gonna do, the last thing that we're gonna do today is, I'm so excited, is we're gonna come over here and we are gonna tackle this coconut appeal and clean it up, because again, in my brain, this is just messy and unkept, and I am ready for things to be clean and neat and tidy and organized. So we are going to attack this, and I am not gonna be kind to this plant. It can handle it. If you've ever had black-eyed Susan vine, you know that it's like almost when you prune it, it's like it angers the beast, and so it grows even more. So don't be afraid to prune your black-eyed Susan vines. They can handle it, and they will get nice and thick, and even it might help rejuvenate and get you some more blooms because the plant has been reinvigorated. So yeah, I'm gonna get my clippers out and I am gonna go to town and clean this bad boy up. Well, I tell you, that made a difference now, didn't it? Look at that. You can actually see that I have a stone path. The good thing about the black-eyed Susan vine is that even though it will spread, it doesn't root as it spreads. I think out of all of that whole mass, I had 2 little sections that had lightly rooted. Easy to pull up. You saw that once I cut it, I could just kind of like roll it like a mat, like a carpet, and then just keep cutting, and it just made a huge difference. So again, just to give you a little bit of a different perspective here, now you can really see my camellias. These are the early wonder camellias from Southern Living Plant Collection. They will get a mature size about 6 to 8 feet tall, 4 to 6 wide, because eventually, you know, I want this whole thing to be filled in with that beautiful evergreen, because just imagine, right? So you've got camellias on this side, and then you've got tea olives on this side. I know that this path will probably have to be moved over just a little bit. This is not meant to be like a huge access. It is truly going to be like a little walking nook right between these 2 evergreens. I know it's going to take some time, but that's all right. So here you can see an up close of the early wonder. It is a japonica, not a sasanqua. I was wrong, and it's a japonica, and I thought that because, well, one, I thought it was a sasanqua because it's got so many buds. Japonica, though, because it has those huge leaves on it. But it is an early wonder because japonicas will bloom like after Christmas into early spring. And this is why it is an early wonder, because it's an early bloomer for a japonica. But huge, double, gorgeous pink blooms. It'll look really nice here. But yeah, that whole little area is cleaned up. Easy peasy. I will wait for a frost freeze before I worry about tackling this. This may not have been one of my better ideas, but it's all right because it really did do exactly what I wanted it to, where it just covered that whole area and gave us some privacy. I wish it had a little bit more blooms on it, but hey, it is what it is. All right, so it has been a very productive, glistening morning here, mid-September in North Carolina. Feeling good. Got some really pretty fall colors, and I'm looking over at the western urns because they're just like straight in front of me. Let me flip the camera around because this is a really fun angle. Because right here you can see, looking through the tea olives, you can see the David Austins, you can see the fountain, you can see the salvia, you can see everything. Those urns back there, it's just wow. To think about how much this has come in a year is just insane, but so much fun. So gardening is about adventure and having fun and trying new things and having something in your brain and making it come to life. That is just, that is the joy of gardening for me, for sure. The sweating part, pretty much done. I'm over it. I'm ready to stop sweating. I'm ready for like sweater weather and scarves and mittens and all things fall and winter. Anyway, on that note, I will leave you, and I will see you in the next video. Bye, friends.